Speedway Report is produced and broadcast by the Zeus Radio Network for Racers Reunion Radio. Well, IMSA held round 2 of their endurance series in the back half of the Florida 36, if you may put it that way. Finally, the NASCAR Whelen Modified Tour opens up 2018. And finally, NHRA's Pro Stock Motorcycle opens up their 2018. All this and more. Welcome to Speedway Report for Monday, March the 19th, 2018, from the shores of Lake Norman in Race City, USA, Mooresville, North Carolina. I'm Patrick Reynolds, and thank you for joining the fastest half hour in racing. This episode is hotter than John Force's combustion chamber. We'll talk a little bit about that tonight, too. Hope you all are done with your St. Patrick's Day hangovers. You know what I'm saying? And you're welcome to join in, a little ice bag, a little aspirin, and enjoy Speedway Report. We'll start with our St. Patty's Day weekend at Victory Lane Lab. Good Irish time. Lots of fun, lots of racing, lots of big stuff happening. Let's start on the West Coast. The Monster Energy NASCAR Cup Tour was in Fontana, California yesterday afternoon. They went 400 miles. Martin Truex Jr. wound up in Victory Lane. A little bit more of a story than just that. Won the pole, won both stages, and won the race. First time that feat has ever been done. We've had guys win both stages and the race, not from the pole. This is about as big a sweep as you can get. The Xfinity Series ran Saturday in Fontana, and Connecticut native Joey Logano was the winner there. In both races, in Truex's case and Logano's case, dominant victories by both drivers. Everybody else, pretty much running for second place, as these two cars were head and shoulders above everybody else. We're going to talk about the Kevin Harvick wreck here in a little bit. I would have loved to have seen what Harvick and Truex would have done with each other throughout the afternoon yesterday if Harvick was around for the rest of the race. But such is not. It was Truex's day. NASCAR's Whelen Modified Tour ran 150 laps down at the beach, Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. John McKennedy, driving for Tommy Baldwin Jr., wins the tour opener for the year. Out on the West Coast in Bakersfield, California, NASCAR's K&N Pro Series West Series went for 150 laps last Thursday night in Bakersfield. Derek Kraus was your winner there. Now, one of the biggest endurance events of the United States Series, probably right after the Rolex 24. You could debate just where it falls. But anyway, IMSA ran the annual 12 hours of Sebring on Saturday. The overall win and the prototype category went to the Nissan-powered, Patron-sponsored. Don't want to get those two mixed up because I don't think that thing's running on Patron. But the boys from Patron wound up in Victory Lane Saturday night. Pipo Derani, Johannes van Overbeek, and Nicolas Lapierre shared winning driving duties in prototype. GTD was won by Lamborghini. The co-drivers there, Brian Sellers, Madison Snow, and Corey Lewis. And GT Le Mans, the winning car, was a Porsche shared by Nick Tandy, Patrick Pilet, and Frederick Makovicki. Hope I got his last name right. I did YouTube it earlier. Make sure. Yeah, I cheat like that. And NHRA, they ran down the Gator Nationals in Gainesville, Florida. In Top Fuel, Richie Crampton got his first win with Coletta Motorsports. Fast Jack Beckman was your winner in Funny Car. Tanner Gray in Pro Stock. And as we talked about, Pro Stock Motorcycle finally opens up their series. Old name, we waited for them. Same old stuff. Eddie Krawiec, one of the powerhouses, wound up in Victory Lane on Sunday afternoon. Now, they had glorious weather for the Gainesville Nationals, and not so much for the Lucas Oil late models. They were supposed to give it a go Friday night at Atomic Speedway in Ohio and Saturday night in Brownstown, Indiana. Both races were postponed just because of the freezing temps out there in the Midwest. They're going to retry it again. Again, a doubleheader Friday, April 13th and 14th. You got to admit, I mean, that icebreaker in Brownstown, Indiana, I'd like to see the stats on that race. More often than not, some kind of weather postpones that thing. When you try to race in the middle of March on a Saturday night in Indiana and Ohio, it just doesn't seem like the math is there. Not saying it's impossible, but it seems like the odds are against it. And more often than not, I'm reading and then reporting to you guys on Monday that the icebreaker is postponed for the late models. Anyway, it is. We're going to try it again in a month. World of Outlaws sprint cars, like NASCAR, boom, they were on the West Coast. They're still out there in California for a large part of the springtime. Mother Nature again. Friday night was, rained out. We got too wet in Stockton, California. They tried the doubleheader. They did get the show in on Saturday. They prepped the track, ran it in. Corey Eliason claimed his very first career Outlaw A main. Tip of the hat to him. But, however, the story of the rain continues is the upcoming race. This coming Wednesday, 2 nights from now, if you're watching us live in Placerville, California, that will be postponed because of the saturated grounds at the track. They're going to run that Wednesday, September 12th, when the World of Outlaw Tour returns there for a Western Spring that they annually do every fall. So they give that a shot again in September. Now, locally here to us, near the Charlotte, North Carolina area, the past super late models raced yesterday afternoon in Asheboro, North Carolina. Matt Craig wound up in Victory Lane. A doubleheader with the Southern Modified Racing Series. John McKennedy, went 2 for 2. Saturday night at Myrtle Beach, Sunday afternoon in Asheboro. Old Tommy Baldwin Jr. got his stuff together on the modified sides. And in other pavement super late model racing, the Rattler 250 took place at the South Alabama Speedway. Harrison Burton used a little bit of a fender and some paint training, got around, and he went to Victory Lane. That's Jeff's boy. Nice win for him with the big super late model race. I remember when Harrison was born. Yeah, that makes me feel pretty old. All right, let's talk about some on-track goodies out here. I'm going to start with Fontana, California. And I talked to you earlier about Kevin Harvick. I would have loved to have seen what his car and Truex would have done throughout the duration of yesterday's race. Truex pretty much dominated, had the field his way. Nobody, really had anything for him. Much like Harvick had done the past 3 weeks out on the West Coast and Atlanta. And Harvick in the mix early on, looking good. Tried a side draft off of Kyle Larson. This whole incident made me mad, and I'll tell you why. It kind of pissed me off because Harvick comes down and tries to side draft off of Larson, comes down too far, ricochets off a Young Money, and back into the outside fence on the backstretch at Fontana. Now, the radio chatter during the race, Larson saying, critical of Harvick. What an idiot, driving like an idiot, things of that nature. Harvick, I think, finished 9 laps down. The crew dug all day. Just kept working on the car, repaired it, got it back on track, so he finished the race and saw the checkered flag. He gets out of the car, and he's talking to the media. Sure, he's disappointed about the run, especially after winning the last 3 races. And he took the blame for it. He admitted, it's my fault. I screwed up, wrecked myself, damaged the car, took my day. Now, this is all nice and diplomatic and works well, and it's just how it rolls. I like seeing race car drivers take the blame for it. Here's what makes me that mad, though. I'm hosting a show on Monday night, wrapping up the weekend. When this stuff goes haywire, tempers flare, and guys start throwing fists at each other, this is gold when you host a radio show and a television show about auto racing. This is the stuff, this is good stuff. This is great fodder for conversation. Now, Harvick takes the blame. Larson's cool. Harvick's cool. They're all disappointed. And it's like, boom, there goes my story. That's good stuff. I mean, I like talking about that stuff. I like talking about track stuff. I don't like to manufacture drama, but just the real life stuff when guys, like a Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin, like they're going to Martinsville this weekend. Remember what we did last fall there. Could be more stuff a week from tonight that we're talking to you about it. Anyway, so there's nothing there. Really good, the dirt, the mudslinging, the anger, the finger pointing, the fist, none of that. I got nothing that out of Larson and Harvick. However, last night on Twitter, Kyle Busch was gold. That's where the good stuff came from. KB had a bad run. If you watched the race yesterday, he had a good run, but the finish of him dropped out. He led a bunch of laps yesterday, was no match for Martin Truex. They made an adjustment on that car on the final pit stop, and they went the wrong way with their adjustment. Looked like they were adjusting the left side of the track bar, raise it up and down. They went the wrong way from what they wanted it to do it. and it caused Kyle's car, a loose car, to get even looser when they were trying to tighten up the back end of it. That was the adjustment they was going for. He basically had to hang on and finish third. Now, KB talks to MRN. KB does not talk to Fox, or rather, Fox did not talk to KB. Bush said he walked right by the Fox television people. They did not speak to him. MRN, the radio broadcast, did talk to Kyle. He gave an interview. He asked NASCAR, he and his PR person asked NASCAR, do we need to go to the media center? The NASCAR rep said, no, you don't. They're only taking the top two, plus a third driver, like a top story type of a third driver. KB was excused. He's all good to go. Now, Fox, Chris Myers reported that Kyle Busch did not, or their reporters, Fox, could not catch up with Kyle Busch. Kyle Busch said he walked right past the Fox people. They did not ask to talk to him. He was way down at the entrance to pit road on pit in because they were checking lug nuts. He may have a lug nut missing. I don't know if there'll be repercussions from that. But according to him, he had plenty of time for anyone that wanted to talk to him to talk to him. He talked to anybody that asked. He was excused from any further media obligations. He went and changed his clothes, got out of the racetrack. Fox painted a little bit of a tainted picture, and too many fans on Twitter took to bashing Kyle for dodging media, from running away, for having a temper tantrum, for not talking to the media. Not the case at all. They didn't ask to talk to him. He said he walked right by him. Well, the Kyle Busch haters took to Twitter and lit him up. Kyle Busch then took to Twitter and he lit back. If you didn't see his timeline yesterday, it's a lot of good stuff as he retweets a lot of the fans that don't like him. You know, called him whiny, baby, this, that, the other thing that we all like to call Kyle Busch, all the usual names, the usual suspects that get him smashed. Well, he fired right back at all the fans that were hating him. There's a lot of people that are Kyle Busch fans that defended him. They were fine. But there's so many of them that hate him and run with the ball. He didn't blow off any interviews. He didn't run away from the media. He did answer all the questions that the media had. And he left. It's Fox somewhere. I don't know. It's not Kyle Busch's job to seek out Fox. It is Fox's job to seek out Kyle Busch if they want comment. KB didn't dodge it, didn't deny anybody any interviews, but he filled out his obligations and then went back to the motorhome lot, I guess, or maybe his trailer. I'm not sure. But Fox had time to talk to Kevin Harvick, which you talked about. 9 laps down. But he was going for 4 straight. That was a story. They talked to the winner. They talked to some other top finishers. They got a hold of Eric Jones, who finished 7th, and I think Kyle Busch finishing in 3rd with that bad pit stop on the last fuel run there. That was the bigger story. So I'm kind of puzzled as to where Fox was in all this. Where were you? I need more detail on Fox as to why they did not air an interview with Kyle Busch. It appears that they had an opportunity to talk to him, but just did not for whatever reason. But grab yourself a bowl of popcorn, brew the popcorn, cue up Twitter on your laptop or your phone, go to Kyle Busch's page and scroll down from last night. I think what really works well is these West Coast races, and these guys are killing time either on the airport or on the flight back, and so they take to Twitter. So that was, if you want some popcorn, bowl of Doritos, some cookies and milk, whatever, go pull up Kyle Busch's Twitter timeline from last night. Hilarious, very, very entertaining. Don't do it before my show's over, of course. Watch this and then go see Kyle Busch. But fantastic stuff. I love that. Whether you like Kyle or hate Kyle, that was entertaining stuff watching him. Disappointed in Harvick and Larson, no dirt there. Kyle Busch, he gave me some good material there, so go watch that or go read that. Now, I'm puzzled. As good as the race was in Fontana, which I liked it, I'm kind of puzzled with John Force's situation, as is everyone at JFR and the NHRA. During qualifying for the Gator Nationals, John Force lost his 3rd body. With an engine explosion, he destroyed another body. Lost in the first round yesterday to his daughter Courtney in funny car. But 3 straight and you blew it up. buddy, you got a problem there. They even talked yesterday that they've got the other crew chiefs from the other cars, Robert Height's team, Courtney's team, Brittany's team, looking at John's car. How deep or desperate do you got to be? John even said they've had Austin Coyle on the phone. When you've gone back to Austin Coyle, goodness, you are desperate. And for 3 straight explosions, I would be desperate too. You're talking a safety factor here, a very dangerous situation for John himself, as well as his competitors and whatnot. He's going through parts, going through a budget. They asked him yesterday, the folks on FS1 asked him if he was scared. He's not scared at all. But it's costing him a lot of money, and it's severe problems that he's got when you have engine explosions for 3 straight weeks. Everybody launches those every once in a while, but between Brittany's wreck, John's wreck a few weeks ago from another explosion, Robert Height seems to be rolling okay. They got some big problems at JFR that they certainly need to get a handle on. Fortunately, they're off for a few weeks next week, as well as the Easter break, so they will be going testing and trying to figure out what in the world is wrong with John Force with 3 straight engine explosions. Speaking of what's wrong with our Southern Modifieds? Guys, we have a modified tour opener in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Nice place to go, not far from the Winston-Salem and Charlotte area, on a Saturday, for crying out loud, and you guys don't race. Now, we have tour cars here because we had a strong Southern Modified tour here for so many years. We got the Southern Modified Racing Series that raced yesterday afternoon at Caraway, but we've got very few Southern cars going to a modified tour race. That is where? In the South. Guys race at Bowman Gray so often, and they complain about more racing and better purses, and here was a tour race in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. I'd like to know what everybody's reasons were, the Southern teams anyway, for not going down there to Myrtle Beach to try to run this race. Was it that big a deal to run Caraway on Sunday because the field wasn't huge there? Where were all the cars that are running the Southern Modified Racing Series or the Bowman Gray cars? I know that the stadium cars won't often go to a tour race for crew member fire suits and the fuel filler regulations, licensing, things like that for the tour as opposed to the weekly Bowman Gray series. But there was, we had 27 cars take the green flag. I'm not sure not too many stayed behind the Mason-Dixon line when the rest of the field went north and went to go home there. So the Southern Modifieds and the tour purses are pretty good. It was 150 laps. They pay around $10,000 to win, all of them. That's kind of neutral ground, too. It's not a case of where the Southern Tour guys would go up to Thompson or Stafford, where the Northern guys race all the time. This is Myrtle Beach. Everybody's got a fair shot here for one race a year now, and then the Myrtle Beach 400 in November. The Southern Modifieds, where were you guys? I don't even ask that critically. I'm asking you factually. Where were you? Literally. Why did you not race? I'd like to know. Seriously. I'm going to hit on some social media and website fails, and it is the aforementioned Southern Modified Racing Series as well as Caraway Speedway. They raced yesterday afternoon in Asheboro, the Southern Modified Racing Series, along with the Pass Tour. Pass Tour has a press release that comes right to my email box. The Southern Modified Racing Series, I get no such release. So I go to their webpage. There's no results from yesterday. I go to their social media on Facebook. Still no results. Caraway Speedway, same thing. I go to Speed 51 and reload their trackside coverage just to find out who won the Southern Modified race yesterday. In 2018, when a race is 24 hours old and you still haven't put it on your electronic media, what are you doing? Really, seriously, what are you doing? And I'm going to go out with another website fail here. If you go to the NASCAR Home Tracks website, which I was looking for a field rundown from Saturday's modified tour race in Myrtle Beach, you go to NASCAR Home Tracks, go to the mod tour page, go to the results, and it takes you to racingreference.com. NASCAR takes you to racingreference.com. Internet fail, boys. What the heck is up with that? With NASCAR, I'm talking about the NASCAR website. The results go to racingreference.com. Think about that. Think about what I just said. Excuse me. It's kind of like the interns are running the asylum down there. Did they just mail this one in? Did we have budget cuts? NASCAR home tracks. Get the results on racingreference.com. I'm going to end this one on a happy note because I've complained enough for you tonight. Last Thursday, I was up at Hickory Motor Speedway, the first test of the American Burnout Challenge Series. We've talked about it here on this show. Andrew Kostecki, the founder and director of the series, was a guest a couple weeks ago on Stars Radio with Jerry Smith. I got to the famed NASCAR short track and watched the Burnout Challenge. Cars designed, built, purchased to do burnouts. That's all they're doing. They've actually got a judging format in place, a combination of smoke, at which times during the burnouts, how long you go, you get bonus points for blowing out tires. Met some guys up there, did a great job, had a lot of fun, met Kostecki. Great time. If you weren't there, you missed out. I'm telling you, this was pretty cool. This was fun. I got to walk around the pits, meet a lot of the competitors, see some cars that were built just to do burnouts. That's what they did. Andrew, he even gave me a ride on the track, and we did some burnouts. I rode. I didn't drive yet. Of course, next time they do have another test coming up a couple of weeks. Thursday, March the 29th, they will be back in Hickory, North Carolina for another test. Seriously, you're watching this show and you are in the North Carolina area, you're around Hickory, Winston-Salem, Statesville, Charlotte, Lake Norman, Asheville, Asheboro, come on out. Thursday, March 29th, Hickory Motor Speedway for American Burnout Challenge. Check out the test. You can go to their Facebook page for more details. It was cool. I had a blast. If you weren't around, you need to go. And look for me. I'll be wearing the Speedway Report shirt. And track me down. Hit me at the knees. Say hi. I'd love to meet you and hear about where you are watching the show. Guys, in between our broadcasts, keep up on the world of auto racing with SpeedwayReport.com. This broadcast and all of our past shows are uploaded on the site. We also have racing articles to read. With so much winter weather still here, the nor'easter coming at the Northeast again. Grab a podcast and some racing reading material. Head on over to SpeedwayReport.com. This broadcast and other uploads, all our past episodes are on. You ready for the rundown here? We're on Facebook at Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds. We're on the Facebook page for Speedway Racers Reunion. We're on Twitter at Speedway Report, on Twitter at Speedway Pat. We are on racersreunion.com in the forum. We're on the webpage, speedwayreport.com. And if you are connected to me on Google+, LinkedIn, and my personal Facebook page, all of our shows are there as well. Big thanks to everyone on our Facebook live feed for joining the conversation during the show tonight. I'm real busy doing the one-man band here, doing the show, but I'll get back to you guys after the program. I do appreciate the comments. I do read them all. I'm out of hands to juggle stuff to actually do that during the show while I'm doing this. I'm hosting the show. I'm writing it. I'm actually producing it as well. But I want to thank all of the military past and present for the freedoms we enjoy as Americans in our daily life, including the simple things like bench racing right here on a Monday night. Freedom is not free, and a veteran paid that bill for us. To all of the men and women who are defending freedom and watching Speedway Report, take care of yourselves and come home soon. A special salute to the teachers, school staff, firefighters, police officers, and paramedics in our own communities. They are quiet and modest heroes every single day. God bless and thank you. You have been watching Speedway Report from the shores of Lake Norman in Race City, USA, Mooresville, North Carolina. Please like our Facebook page, Speedway Report with Patrick Reynolds, and follow me on Twitter at Speedway Pat. On the Drag Racing List Facebook page next is Racing and Rockin' with draglist.com. You join BP, JB, and BS as they cover drag racing with some great music. That's Drag Racing List on the Facebook page. We will be back next Monday, March the 26th, with news from NASCAR in Martinsville, the Formula One season opener in Australia, and the Illini 100 for the World of Outlaw late models, and a whole lot more. Thank you all for joining us. I will see you next time.